Okay. All right. Look, you made me drop my microphone. Lad. Okay. All right. Hi everyone. This is take 2 apparently of my February haul. I'm just gonna get right into it. I've got a lot of books here and I'm so excited to let you know about them. So the first one is called People of Color Take Over Fantastic Stories of the Imagination, edited by Nisi Shawl. I filmed a video about Nisi Shawl. She's absolutely wonderful, and one of the things that she does really well in addition to writing amazing novels is get together writers in a genre and in particular people of color to write great things. So I'm going to read the back. In this, the final issue of Fantastic Stories of the Imagination, People of Color Take Over, special guest editor Nisi Shawl has assembled a breathtaking array of stories by some of the best writers in the science fiction and fantasy field today, and they just happen to be people of color. People of color have been publishing some of the highest quality science fiction and fantasy since the genre's earliest days, yet there still persists a perception that science fiction and fantasy is somehow a white field. This special issue of Fantastic Stories should help shatter that illusion, as it showcases some of the finest writers that science fiction and fantasy has to offer. Representation matters, and Fantastic Stories is proud to be able to end its run on such an important and high note. So that's got about 20 authors, 20 stories in here, and I'm really excited to get into it, so you might want to check that out. It's unfortunate that I'm finding out about this at the end of the run of this magazine, but you know, it's unfortunate anyway. So there we go. This is called Voodoo Hypothesis, poems by Canisia Lubrin, and in the back it says, oh, these are just shout outs to her. So I think I found out about Voodoo Hypothesis over Twitter. So this is an anthology of poetry. It's Canadian. I don't know very much about Canisia Lubrin, but it says here, let's just read here. In Canisia Lubrin's debut collection of poetry, she pointedly observes that the alien we think we know is the alien we only dream up. Voodoo Hypothesis is an imperative invocation of black dreams, an invitation for the living and the dead to define themselves. With poems at once epic and intimate, Voodoo Hypothesis requires a reverence for the individual word to bear witness to Lubrin's brilliance, indistinguishable from magic. Vivek Shreya. Now Vivek Shreya has also written some really amazing work as well. So I'm pretty excited about this. I should read more poetry. I used to really enjoy reading poetry, and then something happened and I stopped. So I'm really excited about Voodoo Hypothesis, and I think that I'm gonna save this for April, which really just means another week, for the National Poetry Month or something like that. So anyway, Voodoo Hypothesis. I'm gonna save that till the end. All right. So this is the next book. It's called Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones. A horrifying inward-looking novella, Mapping the Interior is a literary horror tale about race and America deeply rooted in the contemporary Native American experience. Blackfeet author Stephen Graham Jones delves into his characters' conflicted feelings toward their ancestry, haunted as they are by the ghost of the father whose death severed their ties to the reservation. You will note that this is not an Afrofuturist read, and I typically read Afrofuturism. But one of the things that I'm trying to do as well is read diversely and to connect diverse reads to the African experience. I haven't read a lot of Indigenous work, Indigenous fiction, Indigenous nonfiction, and certainly not Indigenous novellas. And so this book was recommended to me, and I'm really excited about reading it, and I hope that it will help me sort of deepen my understanding of what it means to be someone who is African descended, but also living on Turtle Island. This one is called Ruins Excavation, and the foreword is by Nisi Shawl. It's edited by Eric T. Reynolds with Rose Reynolds and Emmeline Wolfe. Women of color archaeologists lead teams on excavations of ancient ruins, explore the distant past through the eyes of archaeologists as they reveal their discoveries in North, Central, and South America and Egypt. Now, this is science fiction. I know that it sounds like anthropology, which I would not read unless like my life depended on it. This is science fiction and fantasy stories by a number of different authors, and all of these authors, I'm proud to say, are completely new to me. So I'm really looking forward to this. And I found out about Ruins Excavation because I was Googling Nisi Shawl to see what kind of work she was involved in, and I saw this, so I think it's pretty great. Now, this book was actually gifted to me at the Other Futures conference because I said that I wanted to read more Indigenous science fiction. So this is called Love Beyond Body, Space, and Time, an Indigenous LGBT sci-fi anthology edited by Hope Nicholson. So this is an Indigenous LGBT science fiction anthology. So Love Beyond Body, Space, and Time is a collection of Indigenous science fiction and urban fantasy focusing on LGBT and two-spirited characters. These stories range from a transgender woman trying an experimental transition medication to young lovers separated through decades and meeting far in their own future. These are stories of machines and magic, love, and self-love. Yes. So Grace Dillan was one of the speakers at the Other Futures conference in Amsterdam, and she was on a panel with Nalo Hopkinson, and she talked about, she teaches a course, I don't remember the school that she teaches at, but she has a syllabus of amazing science fiction and fantasy writing from all around North America with a specific focus on Indigenous and Aboriginal writers. So I'm really excited to read this. Thanks, Grace. All right, so this is still in a plastic wrap like the couches of 1970s. Andrea Hairston will do magic for small change. And so one of the very first reviews that I did on this channel was Redwood and Wildfire by Andrea Hairston. And I believe that this is either a prequel or a sequel. So we've got Cinnamon Jones dreams of stepping on stage and acting her heart out like her famous grandparents Redwood and Wildfire. But at 5'10" and 180 pounds, she's theatrically challenged. Her family life is a tangle of mystery and deadly secrets, and nobody is telling Cinnamon the whole truth. Before her older brother died, he gave Cinnamon the Chronicles of the Great Wanderer, a tale of a Dahomean warrior woman and an alien from another dimension who perform in Paris and at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. The Chronicles may be magic or alien science, but the story is definitely connected to Cinnamon's family secrets. When an act of violence wounds her family, Cinnamon and her theater squad determine to solve the mysteries and bring her worlds together. So this sounds wild. I'm not sure that I'll be ready for it in the next couple of months, but I'm really excited to read it because I really enjoyed the world building that Andrea Hairston did in Redwood and Wildfire. And it's definitely a sizable read, and I'm very much looking forward to getting into that. Okay, so we've got another People of Color Do Something. So this is Fantasy. People of Color Destroy Fantasy, special issue. It's edited by Danielle Jose Older, and I had the pleasure of listening to and meeting Danielle Jose Older at the conference. So Lightspeed magazine was founded on the core idea that all science fiction is real science fiction and that all fantasy is real fantasy. The whole point of this magazine is that science fiction and fantasy is vast. It's inclusive. It's about all people for all people. And so it sort of goes on to tell you that this is a collection of stories written by people of color. And we've got N.K. Jemisin, we've got Danielle Jose Older, we've got Amal El Mohtar, Tobias Buckle, who else? Celeste Rita Baker, Sophia Samatar, and Chinelo Onualu. Yeah, those are the people I recognize. Okay, and again, so this is a collection of short stories. Super exciting. And some author spotlights. All the authors here are spotlighted in here. Awesome. Okay, so for those of you who may not know, there's a conference on feminist science fiction called WisCon, and I believe that with each conference, they publish a volume of the WisCon Chronicles. If I get that wrong, my apologies. So this was edited by Nisi Shawl. You'll see a theme here: writing and racial identity. So here we've got a dozen writers who talk about just writing and racial identity. I haven't read this, I haven't looked into it, but I know that the writers here are writers of science fiction, and some of the titles are, you know, Guess Who Came to Dinner, Racial Identity in Writing, On Divides, Boundaries, and Distances, Reproducing the View from Nowhere, a reaction to WisCon 34's reproductive health panel. So I believe that these are individuals who are writers, but who have also attended WisCon conferences and who have contributions to make to the way that the literature is evolving. So I'm looking forward to this. I might do that in Nonfiction November. This is Stories for Chip. Chip is Samuel R. Delany, who is one of the founding progenitors of Afrofuturist work. So this is a tribute. It was edited by Nisi Shawl and Bill Campbell, and these are a number of authors who love Chip's work, who honor Chip's work, and who have written echoes to his work. And my understanding is that the editors wanted to, instead of waiting until Chip's career had sort of like fully advanced or come to a conclusion, they wanted to celebrate the life and the contribution that Samuel R. Delany has made to the literature. So some names that I recognize: Juno Diaz, Joelle Gomez, Nalo Hopkinson, Walida Imarisha, Alex Jennings, and Kit Reed, Nisi Shawl, Alex Smith, and Cherie Renee Thomas, Kai Ashante Wilson. So a lot of really well-known folks who've been writing some great Afrofuturism. So a really wonderful short work anthology. The third installment in the Binti trilogy. This is Binti the Night Masquerade. I'm going to be buddy reading this with Alicia from Pretty Brown Eye Reader, and I'm super excited about reading it. I'm also low-key avoiding it because I don't want that world to have to end, but I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so this one is A Taste of Honey by Kai Ashante Wilson, and I'm going to read the back. So long after the towers left the world for the stars, but before the dragons came to Delusa, the emperor sent his delegation of gods and diplomats to Great Olarum. As the royalty negotiates over trade routes and public services, the divinity seeks arcane assistance among the local godlings. Akib Bim Sadiki, fourth cousin to the royal family and son of the master of beasts, has more mortal and pressing concerns. His heart has been captured for the first time by a handsome Delusan soldier named Lucrio. In defiance of saintly canon, gossiping servants, and the furious disapproval of his father and brother, Akib finds himself swept up in a whirlwind romance. But neither Akib nor Lucrio know whether their love can survive all the hardships the world has to throw at them. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. This is a story. It's an Afrofuturist science fiction love story between two black men. So I'm ready for this. I'm thirsty for this. I'm really excited that this book exists, and I can't wait to get into Kai Ashante Wilson's writing. I believe that most of the sort of science fiction romance novels that I've met have involved, or that I've read, have involved women or trans folks or non-binary folks. But I don't think that I've actually read like one involving black gay men. So I'm super excited to read this. And for those of you who are subscribed to this channel who love romance novels, here's one, and it's science fiction, and this could be like an overlapping of our genres. So there's that. Tananarive, I haven't read her stuff in a while. This is Joplins Ghost, and this, I think this follows an R&B singer called Phoenix Smalls, and magical and things that follow. So I'm just going to read this. When Phoenix Smalls was 10, she nearly died at her parents' jazz club when she was crushed by a turn-of-the-century piano. Now 24, Phoenix is launching a career as an R&B singer. She's living out her dreams and seems destined for fame and fortune, but a chance to visit a historical site in St. Louis ignites a series of bizarre erotic encounters with a spirit who may be the king of ragtime, Scott Joplin. The sound of Scott Joplin is strange enough to the ears of the hip-hop generation, but the idea that these antique sounds are being channeled through Phoenix, her life is suddenly hanging in the balance. How will she find her true voice and calling? Can the power of her own inner song give Phoenix the strength to fight to live out her own future? Or will she forever be trapped in Scott Joplin's doomed tragic past? Stunningly original, Joplin's Ghost is a novel filled with art and intrigue and is sure to bring music to the reader's ears. So I've read the Ancient Immortals series from Tananarive, and Phoenix Smalls is actually a character in the Ancient Immortals, and I believe that this book was actually written prior to that series, which involves African vampires. Totally cool. So I'm really excited about reading this, which will give us more information about this character who shows up in that series. This is A Killing in the Sun, and it was written by Dilman Dilla. Dilman Dilla is, I think is it, I forget which country he was from, I apologize, but I met Dilman at the conference in Amsterdam, and I wanted to say that he was from Uganda, so I hope that I'm correct there. A Killing in the Sun is a collection of speculative fiction from Africa. It draws from the rich oral culture of the author's childhood to tell a wide variety of stories. Some of these stories are set in a futuristic Africa where technology has transformed everyday life and a dark force rules. Others are set in the present day with refugee aliens from outer space, ghosts haunting brides and grooms, evil scientists stalking villages, and greedy corporations creating apocalypses. There are murder mysteries, tales of reincarnation of the Walking Dead, and alternative worlds whose themes any reader will identify with. This collection is deftly crafted, running along the thin boundary of speculative and literary genres. So I'm super excited about reading this. It was really great to meet Dilman Dilla, and I had a chance to hear him talk about his own writing, and it's really nice to have that as a bit of a precursor to someone actually reading what someone has already written. Okay, this is Filter House by Nisi Shawl. Filter House, whether drawing upon the protective power of watermelon vines, the healing power of funk, or the pragmatic power of intelligent women, Nisi Shawl's collection of short fiction sparks the imagination. Her synesthetic descriptions elucidate an often psychedelic perception of the worlds therein. The tales in Filter House leap forward and backward through time and space, deftly weaving all too real topics like resource depletion, colonization, and racism within fantastical worlds of persuadable dragons, fickle gods, and interstellar travel. Nisi read from this book, and it was about somebody who could shapeshift and could leap into the bodies of cats in order to solve or prevent a crime from happening, and it was really amazing to hear her read it. So I'm super excited to read Filter House. And I have 3 more. I know this is long. Maybe it'll be 2 videos. We shall see. This is the WisCon Chronicles, Trials by Whiteness, edited by Jaymee. In short fiction, poetry, personal essays, academic think pieces, Twitter rants, and informal Q&As, this volume begins conversations on liberation and limitations, intergenerational and international conflicts, intra-community, and internal tensions. And I believe that this is science fiction writing again. So it's the WisCon Chronicles, so related to the WisCon conference like that other title was. Now this title it's a galley that I got from Thea Lim, An Ocean of Minutes. The reason why I wanted to get a galley or an arc of this is because I know Thea Lim's Thea Lim's sibling is an acquaintance of mine. over Facebook, and I heard about this and I just want to read it. I think it's really great to read Canadian work. America is in the grip of a deadly flu pandemic. When Frank catches the virus, his girlfriend Polly will do whatever it takes to save him, even if it means risking everything. She agrees to a radical plan. Time travel has been invented. If she signs up for a one-way trip into the future to work as a bonded laborer, the company will pay for the life-saving treatment Frank needs. Polly promises to meet Frank again in Galveston, Texas, where she will arrive in 12 years. But when Polly is rerouted an extra 5 years into the future, Frank is nowhere to be found. Alone in a changed and divided America with no status and no money, Polly must navigate a terrifying new world to find Frank, to discover if he is alive, and to see if their love has endured. An Ocean of Minutes is a gorgeous, devastating novel about courage, yearning, the cost of holding on to the past, and the price of letting it go. I'm excited to read this, and it goes on sale on June 26, 2018. Okay, the final book that I'm going to talk about is Juniper Leaves by Jaz Joyner, and the subtitle is The Otherworldly Tale of a Lonesome Magical Girl. But first, let's look at the cover, because you know me and covers. Do you see it? Is it good? Can you see it? Is it in the light? Okay, maybe I'll do a close-up later. Yeah, it's not helping. Okay. So Juniper Leaves. Kinky-haired, blurred Juniper Bray used to believe in magic until she lost her best friend, her grandmother. Now this 15-year-old shy girl is going on her dad's research trip to a farm hundreds of miles away to stay with a family she barely knows and the opposite of a best friend, her new arch nemesis, Bree McKinney. Little does she know that the next few months, Juniper will discover magical powers she never knew she had, stumble into her first crush, and, well, quite frankly, save the world. Juniper Leaves is a fantastical coming-of-age tale of a girl who learns to let go, live a little, and best of all, believe in herself, all before her 16th birthday. So this is written by Jaz Joyner. I'm unfamiliar with their work, but it says here that Jaz Joyner is a Black trans humorist, essayist, and author. Their essays have been featured in Teen Vogue, Huffington Post, The Establishment, and others. One of their works is included in the BKLYN Boyhood Anthology Outside the XY Queer, Black, and Brown Masculinity. Jaz Joyner resides in Brooklyn with their partner Cassia and their dog Bear. This is Jaz Joyner's debut novel. So, the reason why I saved this to the last is because I have 2 copies. So, I'm going to give one away because I have 2. And if you are, let me think. You know what? Let's just keep it simple. If you are interested in a copy of Juniper Leaves, then I would like you to tell me why you'd like a copy of this book, but I'd like you to do it in haiku, because that's my favorite style of poem. So I will leave a link in the description below as to how to write a haiku. They're really simple. Yeah. And I will choose somebody, and then I will find you on the internet and get your address from you, and I will send you a free copy of Juniper Leaves. Okay, that is it. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed this haul. I hope that there were things in here that are interesting to you. As usual, if you've read the books and you have thoughts, please share those. If you have feelings, share those too. And I will see you in my next video. Okay. Bye. Representation Matters and Fantastic Stories is proud to be able to end its run on Shut and Important. Oh, that wasn't me. That was the book. For those of you who are interested in getting into science fiction and fantasy, short stories and anthologies are a really great way to do it. Why are you looking at me? No, just you can talk. The video's already over, so. There will definitely be bloopers. Okay.